Hi everybody. Hello everybody. Let us discuss module number one, classification of materials. See, uh, under engineering materials, first category and major category is metals and alloys. The metals including iron, copper, aluminium, etc. and their alloy especially steel. This is basic engineering material. Then ceramics is another category. These are actually in compound form, metal oxide, for example, aluminum oxide. And then third category is polymers. These are organic compounds with lowest density. And finally, composites means combination of these three basic engineering materials. You can mix polymers with ceramics, then ceramics with metals, so and so forth. So, these are the four categories of engineering materials. First, metals and alloys. So especially metals having valencies +1, +2, or +3. They are metals and alloys are made out of them. The bonding is metallic bonding. And the typical properties are ductility, malleability, luster, electrical and thermal conductivity, and these are the typical engineering metals. Ceramics, these are the combination of one or more metal or non-metal elements. As I told you, aluminum and oxygen. So aluminum is the metallic element and oxygen is non-metallic. So combination Al2O3 is ceramic. So there is mixed bonding, either ionic or covalent. And basically they are metal oxide, aluminum oxide is metal oxide, magnesium oxide, then carbides, silicon carbide, borides, nitrides. These are typical engineering ceramics. Then polymers, as I told you just now, these are organic compounds, derivatives of hydrocarbons with high molecular weight. So these are the derivatives of hydrocarbons along with other elements like oxygen, nitrogen, etc. Okay, so if you look at these three basic categories of material, metals and alloys, they have very high density, so weight is high. But mechanical property, they especially strength, right, hardness, etc. So they have very high strength. Okay, then if we look at the ceramics, the density is low. On the same time, they have good mechanical strength and especially hardness. Right? Hardness is higher than even metals and alloys, but they are brittle. Okay? And third category, polymers. They are actually weak compounds, but they are lightweight. So example is plastic. So here you could see the types of bondings in uh, ceramics. We have ionic bondings, right? You could see the forces, Coulombic forces between positive and negatively charged ions. This is covalent bonding, means sharing of electrons. Here in this case, methane molecule. So the valence electrons of carbon and one valence electron of hydrogen. They are shared and covalent bond is produced. And in case of metals, we have metallic bonding. So here we have C of valence electrons. Right? C means what? Several millions of electrons are there. Okay, at particular part of metals. Right? So these are the bondings in engineering material. In case of polymers, we have covalent bonding. Then composite is a combination of one or different materials. As I told you before, combination of ceramic plus metal is called as ceramides. Polymers may be added to ceramics, etc. So, example, concrete is a very nice example of a composite. Cement, then gravels and steel, okay, sand, etc. Fiberglass reinforced plastics. They are the composites. The combination of different materials around. In classification of materials, the material can be either crystalline or non-crystalline, that is amorphous. The two basic categories. So crystalline is what? Perfect arrangement of atoms in three-dimensional space. And non-crystalline or amorphous means what? They have random arrangement, means they may have perfect arrangement but not at the infinite distance, limited distance. These are amorphous. So we are mostly talking about crystalline material, whether this is metal, alloy or ceramic. And in that we are talking about polycrystalline. So crystalline material can be single crystal. Single crystal or monocrystalline solid is a material in which the crystal lattice of entire sample is continuous, unbroken and aligning in same direction with no grain boundaries. So I will show you picture. First, just see the definition. Then we will see polycrystalline material and then we will compare their structure. The polycrystalline, these are solids that are composed of many crystallites of varying size and orientation. So they contains grains and grain boundaries. So this is basic difference. If you see, single crystal has single grain only. There are no multiple grains. But polycrystalline is what? There are several grains with different size. Now what is grain? So particular grain consists of all atoms arranged in a one and same pattern. That area means crystal lattice of the entire sample is continuous in that particular area. That area is called as a grain. I will show you schematically. See, so single crystal will look like this. So it has, this is a small part of a single crystal. So all, suppose this is BCC crystals. It has body center cubic crystal structure. So all BCC lattice, they are aligning in one and same direction. Okay. So, throughout the article of single crystal, you will find one and same alignment of the crystal lattice. Suppose this is BCC, so all BCC lattice, they are aligning in one and same direction. But on the other hand, so this is single crystal. Single crystal. On the other hand, if you look at the polycrystalline material, you will find grains. This is one part, because this is another part, third and fourth. So we have four grains basically. So here, suppose this material also has BCC structure. So the BCC lattice, here you will find this alignment. This all BCC lattice, they are aligned in this direction. Okay. Now in this grain, here we have BCC lattice, but aligning in different direction. So this area becomes another grain. Okay. They are aligning in this direction. Here in this case, it is BCC lattice only because material is same, but alignment of lattice, crystal structure, crystal lattice is different. Alignment in that different direction. Here you may find something like this. Right? Something like that. Direction is different. Otherwise, material is same. So this is called as a polycrystalline. Okay, having grains. So here you will see this is grain boundary. This is one grain boundary. This is another grain boundary. This third grain boundary. These are all grain boundaries, and within that we have a perfect arrangement of lattice. Means they are aligning in one and same direction. Here we have this direction, here another direction, here third direction, fourth direction. Okay, so that is what polycrystalline. Then crystal structure. Crystal structure is a description of the ordered arrangement of atoms or ions in a crystalline material. Let me take arrow. See, so crystal structure is what? Crystal structure is a description of ordered arrangement of atoms. How atoms are orderly arranged in a particular material. So that description can be understood with the crystal structure. So it is representative of the whole material. And unit cell is the basic structural unit or building block. So basically, a unit cell defines the crystal structure by virtue of geometry. So unit cell defines geometry, okay, and the atom positions within. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 crystal systems. Okay. So unit cell is, as I told you, unit cell is what? It defines the crystal structure by virtue of its geometry. So here you have cubic geometry. So crystal system is cubic. So here A, B, C are lattice parameter. Okay, X, Y, Z axis, X, Y, and Z axis. Okay, so here in this case, in cubic crystal system, A is equal to B is equal to C, and alpha, beta, gamma, these angles between these three axes is 90 degrees. So that is cubic arrangement. Hexagonal, you will find this A is equal to B, but that is not equal to C. Angles are also different, so you will get this geometry. Then tetragonal, rhombohedral, orthorhombic, monoclinic, triclinic. These are the various crystal systems. Okay, and this is the geometry. So unit cell is actually basically geometry. Okay, and crystal system, it's a description of how the atoms are orderly arranged in a particular crystalline material. That's it. So here, the typical crystal systems, crystal structures in case of engineering materials are this face-centered cubic crystal. Face-centered cubic crystal structure. Okay, here you will find atom at the corner as well as at the every face, okay, of the cube. Then body-centered cubic crystal structure. Here we have 8 atoms at the corner and 1 at the center. You can easily see. No atom is at the face. So this is body-centered cubic crystal. Okay. And this is hexagonal closed pack system. Another crystal system. But typically, our metals, they are existed in FCC or BCC cubic crystal system. Here, if you look at the table, the typical metals we use in engineering: aluminum, cadmium, cobalt, copper, etc. But iron is most typical. You will find where mostly BCC and FCC crystal systems. Okay, with atomic radius and other. Okay. Now coming to the important point, lattice imperfection. So it is actually any deviation from orderly array of lattice points. See, so basically it is the distortion or displacement of atom from its regular site. Okay, in a perfect crystal lattice. Okay, so during their manufacturing or during any mechanical operation, there is what displacement of atom from its natural original position, and that leads to lattice imperfection. So variety of defects are observed in atomic arrangement of crystal. Obviously, these defects, they are utilized for manipulation of mechanical, electrical, and chemical properties. So we sometimes we purposely create defect to enhance conductivity or other mechanical properties. The types of imperfections. Point defects, obviously it is zero dimensional, so this missing of atom, single atom. Line defects, one dimensional, maybe several atoms along a line missing, and that leads to imperfection. Then planar or surface defect, two dimensional, means it's a plane, whole plane missing. Volume defect, right? Three dimensional effect. The point defects, they are important for us in line defects. So this includes vacancies, interstitiality, impurity atoms, Schottky defects, Frankel defects. Okay, the 5-point defects. So basically here, atoms. Point is not atom, zero dimension. Atom is misplaced from its original natural position. So first say vacancy. It is produced due to missing of atom from its regular site, as I told you just now. So that vacancy due to displacement of atom from its original position is denoted by NV. Okay, NV is equal to N raised to minus QV by KT, where NV is the number of vacancies. Okay. N is the total number of atomic sites. If you know the crystal structure, okay, unit cell, then you can definitely find out total number of atomic sites. That is N. QV is the energy required for the formation of vacancy. T is the absolute temperature in kelvins. K is Boltzmann constant, and it is given over here. So once you know these values, then you can determine NV, means number of vacancies can be determined. Okay, so here if you look at this schematic, you will find the defects. So here cation interstitial and cation vacancy. See, in this structure or schematic, you will find this bigger molecule and small molecule. Okay. So small molecules are, sorry, small atoms are cations and anions are always larger. Okay. So here cation is missing from its regular site and it went into interstices. Interstices means what? In between the atoms, void available in between, somewhere in the same material. Okay, and here anion vacancy, so big atom is displaced or missing, so it is anion. So coming to the Frankel and Schottky defect, this is very specific defect. So what they are, let us see. So this is basic condition. Even if you are going for manipulating the lattice structure by doping or by removing atoms from its regular site to achieve particular property, basic condition, especially for ceramic, is electroneutrality must be maintained. The number of positive and negative charge will be maintained, should be same. Okay. So electroneutrality is a state that exists when there are equal number of positive and negative charges from the ions. Okay. That should not change. Now, what is Frankel defect? It involves a cation vacancy and cation interstitial pair. So at the same time, you will find cation vacancy and that cation went to interstitial pair. Okay. So here is the Frankel defect down here. So what it says suggests cation vacancy. Here is cation is what? Small in size. So that is removed from its regular position and it is went and accommodated in between other atoms in the same material. So here that is called as the interstitial site. So we have cation vacancy and cation interstitial pair. So that is called as Frankel defect. So it might be formed by leaving by cation leaving its normal position and moving into interstitial site. I just mentioned this. So there is no change in charge because the cation maintains the same positive charge as an interstitial. Okay. So even though this atom is removed from its original position, it remains in the same crystal. Okay, same material. So charge neutrality is maintained. Now Schottky defect. It involves cation vacancy and anion pair. Anion vacancy pair. So cation vacancy and anion vacancy. Both vacancies simultaneously. So it might be thought of as being created by removing one cation and one anion from interior of crystal and then placing them both at the external surface. Okay, so if you look at this corner, you will find the short key difference. What it is? It is cation vacancy. Cation is what? Small. Means this is cation vacancy, small. And anion vacancy. So pair, cation anion vacancy pair. That is what a short key difference. And fraction is what? Cation vacancy and cation intersection. Means this is basically consists of only cations. Fragment defect. One is cation vacancy, another is cation intersection. But here you will find cation vacancy and anion vacancy simultaneously. That is what a short key difference. Now, since both cations and anions have the same charge, electronegativity is maintained. That is what the rule. Now, impurity atoms, second type, or next type. So, it represents the existence of secondary atom in regular crystal lattice. So, this is mostly a doping condition. Okay, or while producing alloy, we could see this type of difference. So, here, this is what a regular crystal system in a material. So here you will find a foreign atom, some other atom of other element, and that replace original or atom from the original side. That is what the I mean this is what the example of alloy. Interstitial impurity, you also could see presence of impurities at interstitial side. So here you will find the interstitial small impurity present in between. Okay, it is accommodated. This is the doping case. Substitution. So this is substitution. Foreign atom substitutes or replaces parent atom in regular crystal. Okay, so that can also be done. We can replace the atom from the host crystal structure, or we can insert in between the atom. It is called the interstitial. Now, effect of impurity atoms. Presence of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen at interstitial site reduce electrical conductivity. That is what beauty of this phenomena. So by doping or by replacing atoms from the host lattice, we can play with the properties, electrical property, mechanical property, etc. Okay. Now there is a rule, or there are rules called as the Home-Rodriguez rules. Okay. So while manipulating the host crystal structure, okay, these rules must be followed. So first is atomic size factor. Size difference should be less than 15%. Atomic size factor. The size difference between the host atom and impurity atom should be less than 50%. Crystal structure must be same. Okay, impurity atom you are adding as a dopant and host crystal structure must be. Electronegativity, they should have very close electronegativity. Okay, electronegativity difference should not be large, should be close to each other. Where valencies, metals will have more of tendency to dissolve another metal of higher valency that than one of lower valency. So meaning of this higher valency means what? It is cation. So cation, cation is there with small size as compared to anion. Okay. So any metal will accommodate another metal with higher valency. Okay. So dopant should be with higher valency, which is less size. Now we will turn to the next part, line dislocations, and it is obviously one dimensional. Previously, those are point defects. A line dislocation is a linear or one-dimensional defect around which some of the atoms are misaligned. Okay. A part of line of atom is missing from its regular side, and this missing line of atom is called dislocation. Okay. So several atoms around a line or along a single line, they are missing simultaneously. That is what a line dislocation. Then types of dislocations. Types of one-dimensional line dislocations. First is edge dislocations, and second one is screw dislocations. It's very, very important for us. Edge dislocations. See now, if you look at a perfect crystal, you will find vertical planes of atoms parallel to each other. I will show you schematic. But I will show this schematic. So here, this is a perfect crystal. So here, uh, it consists of what? Vertical planes of atoms. They are parallel to each other. This is one atomic plane. This is another, third, fourth. They are parallel to each other. Similarly, you will find this is another atomic plane. Okay. So they are perfectly parallel to each other. So this is perfect crystal. Here you also will find schematic showing atoms. The atomic planes, they are aligning perfectly. Okay, so no defect, no line defect, no edge dislocation. But if you look at this structure or the second schematic over here, you will find edge dislocation. So here, you see, uh, this first plane, vertical plane, is perfect. Perfect in the sense, and actually it is not. It is distorted because edge dislocation is shown here. But here it is continuous, not perfect but continuous. Second also continuous, third continuous, but fourth is not continuous. Okay, so this plane is not continuous. It is stopped in between somewhere here. It is not continuous till the bottom. That is what, when one of the vertical planes does not extend from top to the bottom of crystal, but edge of which terminates within the crystal, then it is called as the edge dislocation. So here you will find this plane, vertical plane, okay, it is not continuous till the bottom. It is finished in between. So it creates edge dislocation, means defect. And because of that defect, here we will find a distortion in a crystal or regular crystal structure. Okay, so this is at the atomic level. This is what the plane which is finished over here. It is not continued till the bottom. Other planes, even though they are distorted, but they are continuous from top to bottom. So this is called as edge dislocation. Okay, here it's a good picture to understand edge dislocation. Here you will see the property also, Burgers vector. You see the atomic planes are continuous. First plane, second plane, third plane. The fourth plane is not continuous. It is finished somewhere over here. So here edge dislocation is created. And these are also continuous. But because of this, the regular structure got distorted. Okay. So in front phase, atoms are in equilibrium position in perfect crystals. This is perfect crystal. So you will find the atoms are in equilibrium position, balanced position. But in deflected crystal, just below the edge of incomplete line, the atoms are squeezed. Means below this. This is incomplete plane. So below this, atoms are compressed. Okay, means squeezed and squeezed together and are in compression state. Whereas just above the edge, the neighboring atoms are pulled apart and are in a state of tension. Here, above this location plane, you will find there is what tension. They are under tensile stress. Okay. Now this edge dislocation is represented by symbol this perpendicular. Okay, this is what the way we represent edge dislocation position. Okay. So it indicates the position of dislocation line. Now Burgers vectors. Here you could see the Burgers vector. So let us see what it is. Burgers vector. So it tells us magnitude and direction of a lattice imperfection. What amount of distortion is there and in what direction? That is suggested by Burgers vector. And the associated with this location, and that is what the Burgers vector. And it is denoted by B. So if you look at this structure, okay, at atomic level, so perfect structure will be like this. Okay. Now, here you could find the Burger circuit. This is called as a Burger circuit. So here you will find a perfect Burger circuit. So let us see what is Burger circuit. If you start from point P, means at this atom, and if you move upward, okay, in X direction, 2 steps. You will come over here, then in y direction, say 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, you will come over here. Again, you move down towards x direction by 2 steps, x is equal to 2, you will come over here. And again, if you move towards this direction, that is y is equal to 4, then you will reach to the original point P. Why you are reaching back to the original point? Because there is no dislocation. That is what the case of perfect system. But in case of edge dislocation, because of edge dislocation, means here you will find this plane is dislocated. Okay, it is finished in between. It is not continued till the bottom. So that is what the edge dislocation. So here, if you try to apply Burger's circuit, it is not valid in this case. Let us see how. Suppose we start from point P, means this atom, if we move upward 2 steps, we'll come here, x is equal to 2. Then y is equal to 4. We'll move towards this direction. We'll come over here at this atom. Then again x is equal to 2, down here at this atom. And again y is equal to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will reach at point Q instead of point P. So that is because of what? Dislocated plane. That is because of edge dislocation. So here this is, so if I want to get back to original point P, I have to travel 1 step back, this QP. So this QP bar is called as a Burger's vector. So it tells us direction. You are moving back in this direction. Okay. So that is what the QP bar is equal to B. Okay. So 1 step, B maybe is equal to 1 in this case. 1 step we have to get back. So that is what a Burger's vector. Okay. So here also you could see the edge dislocation. This is before dislocation. This is after dislocation. Okay. This is 3-dimensional schematic here, and it is under the shear stress. So means what? Stress is applied at this corner, and it is it is moved or displaced back. You could see that defect. So here this is dislocation plane. This plane is dislocated line. This plane is dislocated plane, and this is dislocation line, and Burger's vector is this. So direction is this. So you will find there is a perpendicular relation between the dislocation line and Burger's vector. So these are the features. Relation between dislocation line and Burger's vector is perpendicular to each other. This is dislocation line, okay, and this is Burger's vector. So they are perpendicular to each other. Slip direction is parallel to Burger's vector. Slip direction is, this is direction of slip. So it is parallel to Burger's vector. You easily see. Tensile, compressive, and shear fields may be present. So the edge dislocation can be done by either tensile loading, compressive, or shear loading. So these dislocations are formed during deformation and crystallization. Okay. So this is about the edge dislocation and Burger's vector. Coming to the screw dislocation, second type of line dislocation, it is specific one. It is formed by shear stress only. Shear stress that is applied to produce the distortion. Okay, no tensile or compressive stress. Only shear stress can produce screw dislocation. So this is what the crystal or structure, okay, showing screw dislocation. Previously it was perfect, okay, but now it is showing screw dislocation. Here shear stress was applied at this corner, and it was displaced back by 1 step, 1 atomic step. You see, it displaced here by 1 atomic space, and you could see over here also, it is displaced by 1 atomic step. Okay, so this is called as a screw dislocation. Now, by doing this, by applying shear stress and by displacing by 1 atomic distance, what will be the internal arrangement? So this is what the internal arrangement. Okay, and it looks like screw. Okay, that is what it is called as a screw dislocation. So here AB is a dislocation line, and Burger's vector is this direction is this. Here also you could see the Burger's vector direction, and dislocation line is moving through and through this. Okay. So relation is dislocation between dislocation line and Burger's vector is parallel to each other. Both are parallel to each other. In case of line, in case of previous dislocation, okay, there we have what? Perpendicular relation. So here we have a parallel relation between dislocation line and Burgers vector. Slip direction is parallel to Burgers vector. Slip direction is also parallel. This is slip direction. Okay, from this to that direction. And Burgers vector direction is same. So parallel to each other. But only shear stress field exists. These dislocations are formed during deformation and crystallization. Okay. So now this screw dislocation can be of two types, clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, clockwise or maybe in opposite direction, anti-clockwise. So here, merger circuit can also be shown with respect to screw dislocation. Here we have a perfect crystal, no screw dislocation or before dislocation. If you start from point P, you will reach to point Q, then to R, again down to S, and again back to the original point P, because there is no dislocation. But if you apply shear stress at this point and it is displaced back by one step, then you will find this kind of structure. Okay. Now, if you start building Berger circuit, suppose you start from point V, you will move upward. You will move upward. Okay. Two steps, then three steps from Q to R, then down to S, four steps, again S to P, three steps. And now if you try to move upward, you will reach at point U and not at point V. You will reach at point U. If you want to go to point V, you have to move one more step. Okay, so that is what the buzzer vector, and that is the direction, and it is because of screw dislocation. Okay. Here you could see the mixed dislocation. Okay. So as I told you before, grains and grain boundaries. This is what the how material is nucleated or then crystallized out. Here from liquid to solid. Okay. Here you could see it is starting nucleating and lattice structure. They are start building. Okay. Here they are coming together, collaborating, and they start forming grains. Here grain formation is finished. Here you could see the grain. This is one grain. So this is grain boundary. This is another grain. This is third grain. This is fourth, and so on and so forth. This is polycrystalline material. So in individual grain, you will find the same alignment of lattice, crystal lattice. Okay. So this is about the grain boundary. We will not go in detail. So now we will stop here. We will see the remaining part in the next video. Thank you.